Good afternoon, everyone, from Dunrovin Ranch in Lolo, Montana. I'm here with James, and we have it in our mind to create a Kingfisher. Good afternoon, Perch. Everyone, from Dunrovin Ranch in Lolo, Montana. I'm here with James, and I can see that I had my other audio on, so excuse the echo. I've got that off now, but we're here to talk about Kingfisher perches along the river. And just this morning, in fact, while I was talking to Brandon, I was multitasking because I happened to see a kingfisher upriver quite a ways at that lovely place where the slough comes together with the river. And I captured a video of it. And so I wanted to show you that video. Hang on here, and I will find it in my trying to turn off the other webcam or the noise from the computer. I got a little confused here, and I got rid of my movie, which is, I'll find it again. Hang on here, and I'll bring it up. Okay, so here it is. And I will share my screen so that you can see it. Now, it's a little bit fuzzy because this is way upstream, and I have used a digital zoom so that you can see it. But what I want to share with respect to this is the placement of the perch that it is using. Okay, so you should be seeing my video now, and I'm going to turn it on here, and you'll see this little kingfisher jump into one part of the stream and then fly out and jump into another and dive into another. I don't think it got a fish on either, but then you will see it go back to the perch. And so I've got several little pieces here that show it going into the water and then going back to the perch, and then it comes down on the beach and goes back to a different part of the perch. And what I'm hopeful to show here, there it goes into the river real close by, but then it comes out, and it seems to want to go back to the perch, but it sees something in another part of the river. You can see it flying here, and dives into another part of the river, right there. There it goes. And I don't see a fish in its beak coming out, but that doesn't mean it didn't have one, because it goes back up to its perch, and it's there for a long time. But notice the placement of that perch. It's hanging out over the river. Okay, so now I've kind of focused in so you can see the bird a little bit clearer. And look at that perch. It's a log that's just sort of hanging down by the beach and the little bank, and it gives the kingfisher a really good view of the river from that vantage point. And I think that's what we want to create, James, on our side of the river within viewing distance of our web camera. So let's watch this little guy. He's going to fly down to the beach here momentarily. And then you'll see him come back up, and he goes up to a different part of the perch. So it tells me that either level is perfectly good, but I think this gives us some ideas of how far out we want our perch to hang out over the river. Did you watch all that, James?
Yep, I did. I caught it all. We're going to have to, I think the branch you chose it's got a few different options as well. So we've got some limbs and things to work with there, and we could always add another branch up high or down low. So I think we'll go kind of spot it out today and see what looks best.
Okay, so you're going to walk on down to the river, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken, and you're going to, tag us along here. I'll see if I can't get the the camera in position so we can see you come down the hill and kind of watch you as you put, do your magic with this stick. And this is
I'll probably come down on that other gate there on the other side.
Oh, over by the house.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to switch the camera view now, and then I'll start heading out there.
Okay. And I'll see if we can't find you traipsing across the riparian area. But this is just a limb of a cottonwood tree that I found that was downed, and it looked long enough to kind of jut out from a bush and be nailed to a nice sturdy fence post that would give it some, an anchor so that it would stay there even when it flooded, even when the river flooded. So we'll see about that. I think the other thing, are you still listening, James? Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Very good. One of the things I'm thinking is that we should change then the position of our ranch, our river cam tour, and add a spot that focuses on the perch and keeps it in view for a little while when the camera turns to the north. Is that possible?
Yeah, I think so. So far, it seems the presets have been stable for the last little bit. I've had a little consternation with some of the new ones that I've created being deleted for one reason or another. So I'm hoping if I create new ones, they will actually save. So I'll hop on one foot and do my little technical rain dance, and hopefully the camera will comply with our wishes.
So I see a question from Wild Kingdom on the chat. And he says, so awesome to see these kingfishers. How many currently visit the area, would you say? I'm having a hard time answering that because we see this kingfisher very frequently. And whether it's the same kingfisher or not, we're not sure. But I think that we see them enough that there must be a pair around. And my hopes are that we can attract them to near our river cam. And I've even got ambitions of turning the river cam, the structure that the river cam is on, into a nesting spot for the kingfishers. It would really be fun to see them nest. Well, here comes James and Boona. It seems Boona is your able assistant here, James.
Oh, yeah, assistant or distraction, depending on the day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful. She's just a great little ranch dog. She gets on with everybody, including the donkeys, and that's a trick. Because those donkeys can take exception to dogs, They are they're kind of protectors. Well, there you are. You see our branch there.
Yeah. And we had talked about a couple different spots, but I think one of the last ones we had highlighted is out here towards this. We've got a couple fence posts here, and we could kind of hang it out over the river and tie to one of these fence posts on the back end and then prop it up maybe in some bushes from the other side. So is this kind of, you might need to look at the water, but is this kind of shallow enough over here that you're thinking it might be suitable?
I think it is shallow enough. In fact, I'm sure it is, because this is where I used to ride the horses down. There's a little bit of a gate near here. Just to your right, James, there's a gate. I've kind of roped it together, but I used to ride the horses down there. And, so it's pretty shallow. And in fact, at low water, it gets rather shallow. And again, that other perch that we saw wasn't exactly over the water, but it was high enough above the water that the bird could see into the water. And let me show people.
I'm just going to prop this up on branches. This is obviously not how we would mount it, but that's about how far out over the river I can get it without going closer to the river. So this is where the back end of the branch ties to the fence post right now.
Yeah, well, I think it needs to be just a tad bit more out over the river, James.
Yeah, I think so too.
So can you nail something to it?
Yeah, I might be able to extend it out a little farther using some lumber of some sort. In the meantime, I'm going to try to sneak back in here. There's a lot of thorns and stuff here, so fortunately I've got some pretty thick clothing on, so it doesn't scrape me up too bad, but we're going to get in here and see if I can pull this branch forward a little farther.
You know, that's a bush where oftentimes the red-winged blackbirds disappear into that bush when they come down to the river to bathe. I like that bush because it's red all year.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. So this is about 2 feet farther off the fence line. Here's about 3 feet. Do we need to go a little farther still?
I think that looks really good, James. That's
okay.
Right over the water. And I don't think you want to get it too far over the water. I think they want to look, they want to get a view.
Right. Okay. Well, I think, given the way it's tied in here, I think I can tie it to the red bush that it's next to right now on the water, because that's pretty sturdy. And then the back side of it, I could tie the board back to the limb back to the fence line and put some screws in there to make sure it's really sturdy.
Yeah, I think that will work, James. I think it looks fairly good to me in terms of where it is hanging over the water. And
is it low enough?
I think it is. I think any lower, and they're not going to get as good a view in the water. They want to look down in the water, So I'm going to show people it's pretty shallow right here, which is nice because what they're looking for are these smaller fish. They can't deal with too big a fish. So I'm going to look right into the water and people can see that it's pretty shallow right here. You can see the individual rocks. And if you go up towards where we're putting the perch, I think this is a really good spot.
And just to give you some perspective, so I'm standing under the branch now, so it's about 8 to 8.5 feet above the water right now.
Yeah, I think that's just about right, because I think that will give it a good view in all directions. And my understanding is that they're complete suckers for no perches. I'm counting on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I could probably, if we had to, I could push it out another foot or two if you wanted it over the water even farther. It's got a little bit of support back there yet.
Well, why don't you do that, James, and then turn it around so that little branch coming out could also serve. You see what I'm saying? If he wanted to sit further in, he could use the little branch that's coming out of the longer branch. Give him two options.
Well, we've got about 3 branches sticking out there right now. They're just going the other direction. So there we go.
Yeah, I think that gives the little guy plenty of options.
Okay.
Now,
So
it looks like you'll have to stand it up there. You're going to have to prop it up. It's going to...
Yeah, because it's when we turned it there, it's kind of on the other side of one of the limbs. So
Yeah.
I'll have to. What I'll do is I'll get some string. Once I prop up the back and make that rigid, this front side I can just take some string and kind of prop it up with the branches that are here.
Okay.
And I do have a fence post back here too, so I can always prop that up as well.
Yeah, I think it does need to be above the water. And that looks, if again, comparing it to that perch that it was using to fish on, and I commonly see it at that perch upriver from us. I have filmed it there numerous times. So it's clearly a favorite perch, and that's what we want to make this one, is a favorite upriver perch.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that sounds good. Well, I'm going to go ahead. I've got some rope back here that I'll just temporarily tie it on. It won't be the final setup here, but I just want to put it in place so it doesn't go away. And then we'll try to reinforce it as best we can.
Yeah, I think a little bit of a temporary thing is advisable anyway, James, because let's give it a couple weeks to see if it attracts our kingfishers.
Sure. Yeah, well, some of the videos and stuff we've seen, it looks like they take to new stuff pretty quick. So
yeah. If we don't see one within the week or so, we'll have to try moving it somewhere else. So. And we can see, I don't think his weight will bring it down if you prop it up well enough.
Oh, not at all, no.
Yeah,
they're super lightweight. So I think it's just going to be a matter of tying this in so it doesn't go anywhere on us. And then once I keep it in place here, what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to put something else underneath it so that it stays nice and solid.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to rotate it a little bit once I get it tied in.
Well, and I think we're going to get just fabulous views if one of these guys decides to come, because we can really focus on that limb. I mean, we can really get some beautiful views and watch this guy fish, which is what we're interested in doing. So, yeah. You're going to have me up watching this darn thing all day, James. I'm already addicted.
Yeah, it's easy to get hooked, especially once you know where things are happening. Tell you, you can just watch with rapt attention for the whole day sometimes. All right, so that's roughly where we'll stake it out for now, and I can get some material and shore up the backside a little bit later. But this ought to give us a good idea of whether it's going to be stable enough and in the right view.
Yeah, it should be pretty stable because of the wind. The wind will definitely move it around. So I think we want it pretty well secured, even even if it's temporarily secured.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have to sing James's praises to everybody because you are always so willing to experiment with all of this, whether it's technical or perches or, building nest boxes or whatever. I just really appreciate how much fun you seem to get out of it.
Well, it's always an interesting problem to solve. Sometimes the problems of our own design, I think. But I've certainly created a few for myself.
Yeah, it's impossible not to, isn't it, around here? Everything seems to be an experiment. You know, you put something up and you don't know because you can't really just put out an invitation to the local Kingfishers, you know, and hope. And I remember when we put the perch up on the osprey's nest, I fretted the whole time that it would, you know, cause the ospreys to not want the nest. Well, we certainly didn't need to worry about it. They love it, and I'm so glad we put that perch up there. It really keeps the adults around while the chicks are there, and it gives the chicks a place to practice flying. So, yeah, these experiments are worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I've got this tied off on both ends. I don't think it's going to go anywhere unless the riverbank and the brush goes with it. So,
okay.
I think that's at least able to be used as a test. And then later this afternoon, I can add a preset to the camera. And I'll have to, I think, to try to lock it in, I'll probably have to turn the camera off and turn it back on. But we'll get that loaded in there. And then if you're tuned in 24/7, we run 4 cameras. So we've got this river cam is featured all day, every day. We've got the bench cam, the ranch cam, and the nest cam over at Days at Dunrovin. If you want to join us over there the rest of the week, but every Monday we'll be able to come back and check on this for sure.
Well, James, thanks again. I really appreciated it. And I think what I'm going to do right now is just leave the camera on the perch for the rest of the day because, you know, in some of these videos we watched, the bird showed up right away, like within minutes. So let's just see if one of our local kingfishers won't humor us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll hope so, and I'll get some material put together here, so when we're ready to make this a little bit more permanent, we can do that. I do have a feeling, though, that we will probably have to make this an adapted seasonal thing because during the spring runoff, this area gets completely flooded. So we'll definitely have to take care not to make it too permanent or too precious because we'll just end up replacing it eventually. Yeah,
I hear that. Okay, so when you get back to the camera control, James, I don't know how to make it so it won't go back on tour. So if you would do that, I would appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah, we'll go ahead and make that happen.
I knew how to do it once, but I forget every time.
Yeah, if you don't do it often enough, it leaves. So, yeah, if you like that location where it is, I'll go ahead and make that the preset and see if I can add that back into the rotation.
Yeah,
and then,
I'll come in on a little bit closer and show a little more of the river here so that if we did see it dive, it would be, we want more of the river than we do of the beach. Put him off center so we could see him dive. Okay, I'm going to leave it right there because then we might be able to see him dive. But if I put too close, we won't see the dive. But this way we'll at least see him if he comes.
Yeah, and the lighting should be good here at most times of day just because we mostly get that southern lighting most of the year. So I think we'll probably be in pretty good shape that way and won't get too much glare.
Yeah, and also the camera's now south of the perch, so that whatever light there is, the bird should be getting it.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll put a few of these tools away, and then I'll take care of those presets and see if we can get everything dialed in and See if we can catch a king.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be thrilled if we get one.
So I think coming up next here, we've got Ashley and Ryan getting ready to have a conversation with our fairly new Florida guests by way of Wyoming, the famous flamingos of Dunrovin.
Oh, yes.
Or soon to be famous flamingos of Dunrovin.
So I have to tell the audience about my friend Libby, who lives south of me. She had, her family had one of the largest ranches in western Montana. And when her parents died, of course, the ranch got broken up into 3 pieces because there were 3, and she was one of 3 sisters. At any rate, Libby and I used to ride endurance and train together. And every now and then her friends, me included, would buy a flamingo and plant it somewhere in her ranch. And, you know, pretty soon she had this whole flock of flamingos that were stationed in various parts of her ranch. It was a lot of fun. It was a great tradition. And so I'm loving these flamingos that have come to Dunrovin via Florida and Wyoming.
All right. Well, I'm back here in the ranch office now, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of some of the tech stuff on the camera here, see if I can get these presets locked in, and we'll put that on rotation, and we'll expect any updates from you later today if you somehow find something.
That would be great. And you may have a more close-up one of the perch, too, for if you're going to just create a stop there. We don't necessarily have to put it on there yet. But I think this is the best place for it.
Yeah, let me go ahead and save this location, and we'll call that Kingfisher 1. And then if you would like to add a closer one, go ahead and zoom in, and we can add a close-up if you like.
Well, this would give us a close-up of all the little branches in case it landed on the one behind. So let's do this one here, if you wouldn't mind. Right about there, I think, would be a nice close-up.
All right, so that one is saved. We should be good to go there. Awesome. Well, we'll work on putting those into the rotation on the River Cam tour, and we'll see what we can capture here. And you wanted me to turn off the tour for the moment, so we'll go ahead and turn that off.
Okay.
And this location can be in place for as long as you like.
Okay. Well, let's just keep it for a while and see if we luck out today or tomorrow.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. That'd be great.
All right. Sounds good. Well,
are we gonna say goodbye then?
Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up here, and then we'll get ready for Ryan and Ashley and their discussion coming up here shortly. So stay tuned for that.
Thank you all for joining us, and keep your fingers crossed. Let's hope that either Mr. or Mrs. or both of them show up on our perch. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.